Hi, and welcome to a new episode of IMO, In My Opinion. I'm Alika Hope. I'm here today with Alicia, Gina, and Millie. We're going to start off our discussion today talking about the secret way that people judge you based on your weight. There was an article in a recent edition of Glamour magazine about it. I thought it was really interesting how we judge people who are overweight versus people who are thin. Mm-hmm. Did you guys see that article?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. You know how some of us think that if someone's obese or they're overweight, they must be lazy, they must be insecure, and if they're thin, they're like narcissist, and they're all about themselves, right?
Yeah. And healthy.
Oh, and healthy.
Yes, right. The assumption is that you're healthy if you're thin, which is not necessarily the case.
Not necessarily the case.
Not at all.
So you know some thin people that aren't healthy?
Oh,
Absolutely.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I remember even when I was like, wait,
No, I'm kidding, Millie. I'm totally kidding. I'm joking. Sorry, Alicia, go ahead.
I mean, I remember when I was significantly more overweight, and I could aerobicize for hours, dance for hours, and it's like, you know, some smaller people would be like, I'm out of breath, I'm cardiovascularly not fit, you know, and it's just like, it really just depends. That's not a say, oh, I should not be as healthy as I can be, but you can't necessarily judge someone's cardiovascular fitness based on their size.
But you know what? I don't think it's all that much of a secret either that people judge you by the way that you look, whether it be weight or anything. I don't think it's so secret. We're not that smart.
But they sold some magazines.
They do so. I know, it makes a good magazine article. I just think that, you know, I mean, the way that we are as human beings, we're going to categorize and judge. And by default, it's just how we are. And people, the associations that people make with different characteristics they're inherent. They just, oh, you're fat, you're lazy, like you said. Oh, if you're skinny, you're svelte, you're beautiful, you're healthy. Oh, if you're big boned, oh, you must be able to lift 100,000 pounds. Or you know what I mean? It's like if you're a big guy, you should play football.
Yeah.
It's so it's silliness, but you know.
You know what is funny too? It's like when you think about, this is something that I actually did a Facebook post about this one time. I was like, you know, before you really judge someone who might be, I don't know, say 250 pounds or something, for all you know, they've already lost 100 pounds. And you just caught a snapshot and they're like actually in the middle of like bringing it down, you know, lifestyle changes.
Very true.
So we really shouldn't just make a spot judgment of someone and say, oh, okay, well, yeah, you're blah, 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 blah. Even though we naturally do it.
We do,
yeah.
But I feel like you shouldn't take that initial thought
Right.
and then act negatively on it, because then it's like, then you're wrong.
Right, because the lesson is always that there's so much more that goes into a person than their physicality.
Or what they're wearing.
Or what they're wearing, or how they wear it.
Whenever I see obese children, really obese children, I get really angry. I get mad at the parents. I do. It's a gut reaction, but children didn't used to be so obese. There were always kids who were, you know, fat all the time at the beginning of time, but there's so many obese kids now, and I look at the parents, I'm like, how do you let your kids get like that? I feel bad for the children. When I see like 5, 6-year-olds that are way overweight.
And that is not their fault.
Right.
It's not their fault.
That
And
is not
I
their
get
fault.
mad at the parents, and then I think, well, are the parents ignorant? Like, what's
Some
going
of it is
on?
ignorance.
Yeah.
Some
A lot
of it
of
just
it
is
is
ignorance
ignorance.
as far as like the way that we eat, the amount of exercise. You have gym programs being reduced in schools. You know, a lot of activity that we ordinarily would do. We're not doing it as much. You know, the child can, they say the average norm is like 5-6 hours in front of television or electronics a day, versus I remember it was like summertime.
You were outside.
I know.
You're jump roping.
The sun comes up, you're
drawings,
outside till the
and-
street lights come on.
Until you come back in the house and you smell like you've been in the outside.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
out there playing.
Yeah,
You know, but a lot of
definitely.
things have changed, and we do. We look at, I'm a mother of 4, and so I do look at, I'm like, wow, what's the backstory? You know, is it the rise in juvenile diabetes? That's huge.
Hypertension.
Hypertension, you
In
know, that
kids?
really should
Well,
kind of
kids
kick
are
us
getting
back
type
into
2
the,
diabetes.
that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah,
Kids
they're
are
getting
getting
adult.
type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
They didn't used to have it.
No.
Kids didn't used to have type 2.
No.
They would have juvenile or type 1 diabetes, but not type 2.
No.
And now they're getting it, and you're
Now they
like,
are.
what's going on?
It's two things. We have the food that we're taking in, and
Yes.
the high fructose corn syrup, and the
Yes.
high additives and things that we're just not eating as close to whole foods as possible.
And the
then
lack
also
of expenditure of
have
energy.
calories. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
You know,
Who wouldn't want to sit and eat a Whopper and then watch SpongeBob?
I would feel sick, actually.
Well,
And that's
I don't want to
another
eat a Whopper
thing
either.
That's going on there. When you go to one of these fast foods, Mom sometimes
Did you
is
just
very
say fat
busy.
foods?
Fast food. I said fast food.
No, you
Foods are fast
No,
food.
oh God. No, but you know, $4.99 is a salad, and then $1.99 is a cheeseburger.
It's
which one
true.
you go get?
The
That is
value.
very
You
true,
know, and
Millie.
that's a problem too. Society doesn't help us out at all either.
No.
You know what I mean?
And then they say they have the healthy value menu, the healthy
Yeah.
menus, but they're not part of the value menu,
They're not
except
part
for
of the
maybe
Can
a
I
value.
get a
salad.
veggie burger
Yeah.
that's not like
Right.
$5?
Right, exactly.
You know, you were
Seriously.
saying earlier about people also judge you based on your hair. Can
Oh,
you explain that? What do
absolutely.
you mean by that?
Because I mean,
Yeah, they
we.
do.
Okay. Now, granted, if your hair is not pink, don't expect that people are going to necessarily take you as seriously if you're doing certain things. But with the rise of particularly women of color who are going more of the natural, unprocessed, unchemicalized, I just made up a word.
Unchemicalized.
hairstyles, you know, that can kind of come across like, wow, are you fighting the power? You know, actually, I
Yeah.
just am going,
Yeah.
you know, I just don't feel like putting chemicals in my hair right
Yeah.
now. Or whatever. So yeah, people will judge you.
Yeah.
And
I
people
just had
do
somebody
anything
ask me about
those
my
things.
fro. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Someone who
what
I
of
know
it?
was told to tame her hair. She shall remain nameless, but she was told at her job to tame her hair because
At
she
her
had
job?
at her job
At her job.
to tame her hair.
there was a very large
Yeah.
case where a woman, one of the first women to wear braids at
I
her
remember
job.
that. That was years ago.
Yeah,
But
she
that
was
was years ago.
reprimanded.
This just
Yeah,
happened,
but
right?
but it doesn't really change.
That's amazing.
It never really changes.
awful.
It
That's
is
amazing.
awful.
It's you, and that's it. That's just, you gotta be yourself. Like me, as being a Latina woman, some of my family have really curly hair, gorgeous hair. I have a little bit wavy. Sometimes I like it to put it straight in that.
And it's beautiful,
But
Millie.
I still
Yes, it
want
is.
to be who I am.
Yeah,
you know
right,
what I mean?
right.
It's like, why are you going to change yourself? Because your job tells you, well, if you don't like my curls, bye-bye.
Because we're colonized.
It's
What
ridiculous.
does that mean, colonized?
It means that we were a colonial nation. We were subdued by a huge hegemony, and we were colonized to make us feel that we should be a particular way.
But
But
doesn't
I
that
think it
go
cuts
against...
across the board, though. No, I'm sorry. I think it cuts across the board. Where like if you have even like just women and just across the board, no matter what their ethnicity is, if you have like a
I
shorter
agree.
haircut,
I agree.
people are gonna say, oh well, she must
You're
be-
gay.
Yeah.
You know, well actually I have a shorter
has
haircut
short
because
hair.
I like it,
Yeah.
or I've decided not to go gray. Or I've decided to go completely gray. You know, I can just make a decision about something that I feel and be okay with that without being
Yes.
judged. But if I am told, well, you're coloring your hair, so therefore you're ashamed of being older, actually, no, I just want to try a different hair color.
Yeah.
And this
It
is
can
what
be that
America's
simple.
supposed to be about. When you were talking about colonization, America's supposed to be about freedom of choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a
Choose your
revolution.
hair,
We had a
you know?
revolution to get away from the British,
We
so
did,
we could
thank
have
you.
freedom. And then we,
Or if you
yeah.
know, you want to be a big woman and you're big and proud, well then be big and proud. There
I
are
know.
some women
Just
on
please
TV
wear
that are
clothes
big,
that
they
are
look great,
beautiful, yeah.
fashionable. Yeah, do wear
Yes.
appropriate clothes, whether you're
Yes.
big or
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
goes both
That
ways.
was across the board. Come on.
Yes,
Whether it's hanging down low, hanging
I know.
out, keep it up,
Yeah,
look
pull it
nice.
up, pull it up. Nobody
No,
wants to see it.
No, we don't. Yeah,
Same
that's
thing with you. Just be clean.
that's right.
Yeah.
Be clean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cleanse
And we
yourself.
all have our individuality. And what we like about Mama D, yeah, because Mama D doesn't say you have to wear a suit to be on IMO, or
Right.
you have to wear pink to be on IMO.
Although pink is nice.
Pink is
A
nice.
pink suit wouldn't be
We
that
should
great.
have a pink day sometime.
We should have a pink suit day.
Like have
Oh, a
October.
Jackie O day.
October is Breast
And our
Cancer
flower.
Awareness Month.
Okay.
We shall
What if we
be-
have, what if
We
we
are
have
going
a
to
Jackie
do that,
O
too.
day with pillbox hats and stuff?
Oh, by the way, Jackie, speaking of Jackie O real quick, Michelle Obama is coming to town.
Yes.
We're very
Michelle.
excited about that because she always looks so good.
She's
Always.
beautiful. She, her arms are like, and
When
her
is she coming?
hands.
She's awesome.
August.
Okay,
It's
so we have
August.
about a month to buff our arms up. to try to-
Yeah.
That's never going to happen. I'm going to have like surgery to have them pared down, and then I'll meet her. I'll be like this, Michelle.
Will you wear a pillbox hat too, Gina? Will you
I
come
will-
see Michelle?
I
No,
will.
she won't.
I will find. I will straighten my hair to put on a pillbox hat for her.
All right. Okay.
I'll-
We're gonna
I'll
have that
defy
in
the
coming
fro.
episode.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to do a little bit of celebrity gossip, so stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome back to IMO. And I got to tell you, I knew it was too good to be true from the get-go. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, I knew that was destined for disaster.
Can I jump on the
Am I
couch?
only one?
Yeah.
Can I? Can you jump on the chair and glue burgers?
Listen, you know what, honestly, I never thought that was that crazy. When I saw him on Oprah, he was just excited. I just never
Yeah.
understood the big deal of that.
Yeah.
However, they're no longer together. Officially, they are done.
Did you think that it was going to last? Because I didn't.
No, Tom Cruise's marriages never last.
Right.
He's been married 3 times now, and they last probably approximately 10 years, and he's done.
Is
Why
it true
is
that they
that?
all leave at 33? I heard that also.
Oh, I don't know about
They all leave
that.
him when they're
funny.
33?
When they're 33.
That'd be interesting, a little research.
I don't know.
Well, Katie Holmes is 33.
She's 33.
She is
I think
33.
Nicole Kidman was older than that, wasn't she? Or not?
I don't know. I
Maybe
really
not.
don't remember.
Maybe she was 33. This is very interesting.
I know, Tom.
Ah.
Now we're all gonna be like,
I know.
I know.
It phones out. It's like, hold on.
Better right? Better low.
Better. Yeah.
Better.
You'll know.
I'm sorry,
Go find
Betta,
it.
If you find that out, would you put that on the
Please.
Facebook page?
Yes.
Anyone
Yes.
else who wants to join our Facebook page, you
Yes.
update us about that. Were
Yeah.
they all 33 when they left Tom? We don't know. It's very interesting. But I do know a lot of them don't like Scientology. So what's up with Katie Holmes? Like, she said that the Scientology was too much for Surrey.
Yeah, she wanted to get Surrey away from the Scientology. And now I think part of the agreement is, their divorce agreement is that Surrey has very limited access, or Scientologists have very limited access to her. And that will wane as she gets older and is able to make her own decisions. So,
Wow.
so she was really concerned about Scientology.
But she converted herself.
She did, but I guess she didn't want to have her kid. I mean, who knows? I don't know about Scientology very much. I can't speak about it.
I've tried to research Scientology. I've had a real issue trying to find out information that's like up front. You know, you can research a lot of religions. I've had issues. And I'm not trying to judge Scientology. I'm just trying to figure out how I can find out more about it, because it seems that Tom Cruise and some other celebrities
John
are really
Travolta.
into it.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley. isn't
Kirstie
she,
Alley.
too?
Oh.
But I can't, you know, maybe we should have a Scientologist come on the show. I don't know, but
That'd
I've
be
tried
awesome.
to get, that would be a good idea.
That would be a great
I do
idea.
remember back in the 80s, I think it was
Yeah.
the 80s, and L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron
Remember?
Hubbard.
Right.
Yep.
But,
Remember
you know,
that book?
So it's like
the book?
you have to get your thoughts cleared. You just have
Okay,
to get in
yeah.
the space of being clear.
He's a science fiction writer. Now, I'm
That's
not putting
the
it down.
thing
So
that
it's
was
gonna-
amazing
yes.
to me, and I was like, oh, I remember him as being a writer, science fiction, and then I didn't realize there was a whole religious
Right.
group.
Well, I think that L. Ron Hubbard, and I could be mistaken, I'm sorry if I misquote you, L. Ron from Beyond.
He'll be watching.
But yeah, I know. But I think he said, if you want to make a lot of money, create a religion.
He probably did say that.
I want to say that was a quote from him. So I'm not, Scientology, I don't think, from something I've heard, Scientology doesn't necessarily negate if you're Christian or Jewish.
doesn't. I read that. I read that.
So it's a
Most
matter of
philosophical-
clarity of
Yeah.
thought and,
Philosophical
yeah, you know, and things like that. So basically, without meaning to be judgmental whatsoever, because I don't know anything about it, it's about how you think. And when you start to get into how people think,
Right.
then you start to get into the realm of mind control.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I think that's what people really get concerned about with Scientology.
But that can be true with any religion. You could
It's
be
true.
any religion, and if the husband is a mind control type person, he could be Jewish, he could be Hindu, he could be Christian, he could be whatever, and he could be mind controlling.
You could
So I
just
don't
be
know
a
if that's
control freak, right.
Scientology as much as just the man himself, because from what I can see, it seems like Tom Cruise keeps a tight hold
He does.
over the
He's-
women that are in his life. And you remember
Yeah.
that her name is Katie Holmes, and there's this article I read about how he tried to change her name to Kate. So if you listen to him, he only ever calls her Kate. And the
Yeah.
only other person that followed that was Brooke Shields. Everyone else calls her Katie, because she even calls herself Katie. But he insisted on calling her Kate because now she's a woman. He actually said that. Now she's a woman, so we call her Kate,
It's interesting.
you know?
Even from those, not so much from the individual standpoint,
Yeah.
but from the Scientology standpoint, if he did create a business of Scientology, you know, you can kind of look and see for years that the majority of people who are on I want to say economically, celebrity, but they do have a lot of
economic
celebrity
advantage.
following.
Yes.
Yes,
So, you know,
they do.
some of the ones who are kind of gravitating towards that are some of the ones with money. So someone
Yeah.
could look at that and be like,
Yeah.
that's a good scam, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be able to pull people who have money because you know that you're going to be able to sustain it financially.
Right.
Why do you think we have such a celebrity culture? We really do.
People
have
aren't
a
confident
celebrity
about
focus.
they're not confident in their own
Yeah.
selves.
You're right.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable in their own skin, and so we have to project outward and say, "Oh, I love the way I want to be like that. Oh, I
Right.
love the way he."
And
you
I
know,
think
it's fine.
Especially since the advent of film, even with the advent of film, you can project a particular way that people that you want to be, you want to see, you want to aspire to, and now the celebrity culture that we have is so tied with money. Before,
Materialism.
before like with Marilyn Monroe, it was tied to beauty and and style and glamour, and of course wealth to some degree, but now it's like this excessive wealth and this false beauty and this this kind of bastardization, if you will, of original celebrity culture.
Do you think that's why we have so many reality shows?
Yes.
People trying
of
to peek in other
course.
people's lives.
Yes.
The
People are
voyeurism of it
everywhere.
all, huh?
The housewives of every single town. I can imagine. Why,
The real
why are we
one.
so fascinated with that? Why
I mean,
are we-
I can see how like we
horrible.
have
It is horrible.
just as people, it's fine. You say, you know, I like the way that they style their hair. I want to model. And,
I think I'd like that,
They're
yeah.
a role model for me. When I have people who some people say mentors. I say that person is a role model for me because they're writing. They're a role model for me because of their use of social media or because of their whatever. You know, but that's fine. But when we take it out of its proper position
Right.
to where you idolize,
Right.
and it's like you can't wake up in the morning without wondering what so-and-so just ate for breakfast because they tweeted it.
Right.
That is beyond me.
That's not a bit too
And I
much.
tweet, but I'm just saying that's not.
I cannot fathom being so interested in the lives of people I don't know. I'm going to be more interested in what's happening with you and you and you than
That's
I
why
am
you're
with Tom.
stalking the Facebook page, right?
Exactly, right? I do a little bit of stalking.
You have like thousands of Twitter followers, right?
Yeah, but you know what? After a
Or
certain number of
millions.
Twitter,
Millions.
after a certain number of followers, you get free stuff. People start to endorse large companies.
Yeah.
Really?
Start to get into it. You know,
IMO Twittering very soon.
coming near
Free
you.
stuff. Free, did you say free? Yes. Large companies?
Yeah, large companies.
Okay, good to know.
They realize that you've got.
People who are
And
paying.
you
Yeah,
can
some
promote it because
followers.
everybody following you, so they want to do everything.
I'm going to get
It
myself a
matters.
Toyota Prius. Why, thank you. Toyota's going to give you. I think it's reversed though.
Well, and
Yeah.
you know, it's funny because celebrities also have a lot of power
Yes, they
politically.
do. Yes.
And you know, Morgan Freeman was just saying how Obama is not really the first black president because his mother was white. And people actually took that up. That was on CNN. It was on CNN's website.
Yeah, it
I mean,
was.
The power that celebrities have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's a longer discussion. You know,
It
a couple
is.
minutes in this segment, but
I don't
you
feel.
know, Alicia, get ready to say something.
I don't feel good about that.
Right? Okay. But just the power that
Yeah.
celebrities have politically.
Yeah,
And you know, the
immense.
presidential campaign's coming up, so all the
Yes.
celebrities are going to be out.
Yes,
Full
they are.
force.
They're doing their thing.
I'm
right now.
already a dither.
You're
I'm already a dither. I'm like wondering how am I
You're
going to get
excited?
through November between the election and the Patriots' new season? How am I going to survive? I don't know.
Are you going to be
got
able
you,
to know? Do you know CPR in case she passes out? From all
Actually,
this
I-
excitement?
What I really need is a whole bunch of Xanax.
Okay.
No
Keep you
Xanax,
calm.
baby.
Keep me calm.
Do
Keep
some
me
hot
calm.
yoga. You're good.
Hot yogurt?
Hot yoga. Can you tell us what hot yoga is, by the way? Just
Actually,
Yes,
I
please.
will.
Okay.
Hot yoga, man. It's like you're doing your yoga practice, but the room temperatures are like 85, 90 degrees. So with the heat, you're not only are you sweating out extra impurities, but you're also much more limber because the heat allows your muscles to stretch.
It just sounds like, no.
No, but think about
Yoga,
it.
you got to think.
No,
Isn't yoga about not thinking and just being?
well, see, the actual postures and practicing yoga,
Yeah.
that's like you're breathing, you're doing a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
different
yeah.
movements and stretching in different ways that you might not have thought that you were able to stretch before.
Real raggy.
I started to do a little bit of yoga at home, and my boyfriend was like, "Babe, you want to join me?" He's like, "You're doing a whole bunch of weird stuff in there. I'm not doing that." And it's really funny. 'cause,
That
you know,
might
you're like
emasculate me.
this, and you're like twisting. He's like, "Yeah, that's scary."
But you know what? Seriously though,
It's healthy.
we
But it's
Yeah,
don't.
it's good. It is
we
good.
don't have enough
It
range
feels
of motion.
really
For
good.
most
No.
people, we really don't. We sit so much in front of our computers.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we don't carpal tunnel syndrome. And I know I'm not a yoga instructor, but I'm just saying we don't exercise, we don't stretch, we don't let
Enough.
our energy flow enough. That's why we're all pent up and on.
And actually, if we let our energy flow better, we'd be healthier, and then we wouldn't
My
need to do
pent up
health insurance
rage.
as much, which is what we're going to talk about in the next segment coming right up. Thanks. Healthcare. It's very important to all of us. We all need it. We all want to be healthy. And there was the Supreme Court just made a decision on what they call Obamacare, or the health care plan for our country. I wanted to bring up first, though, that Massachusetts is the only state that has required health care for the citizens. I am not a resident of Massachusetts, but these three ladies are, and I kind of wanted to talk about how that's affected you or the people that you know, since it's going to be probably eventually going to a broader scale. But how has the requirement for health care in Massachusetts affected you, or your family, friends?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think the healthcare in Massachusetts, 99% of children are covered in Massachusetts, which is really pretty amazing. So the healthcare that we have here, it's not very intrusive. You know, it's really kind of an alarmist
standpoint?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have feelings, so when I have feelings, I start to get. I know. So in Massachusetts, essentially, what happens if you can't prove that you have health insurance, you have to present a certificate with your taxes to prove that you have it. You will not be penalized. Okay. Personally, I had insurance when I had full-time jobs through those companies. There was nothing that I saw that was different. I didn't have to change providers. I didn't have to, do this, that, and the other. And if I didn't have insurance, then yes, I would be penalized through the Mass Department of Revenue. So on the national level, the United States Germany has had universal health care since the 19th century. Britain since the early 20th century. The United States has fought this all the way to through 2012, and it's still, the Republicans are still today trying to repeal health care, universal health care. I don't see the disadvantage. People really like the individual components of this health care bill, and yes, it does need tweaking, but I think in the long run, it's going to be a great advantage for people in this country, personally.
So have you guys seen any difference in care quality or anything like that in Massachusetts since this happened?
I don't know if I can say there's any changes or any differences among them, because when I was unemployed, they automatically put you on a healthcare program. Right. Automatically. The same thing, a lot of people that are in the food stamps and on the welfare system as well. The Mass Health, that's the one that they use over here. And it's good. Thank God for those that can get the health care and all that, because there's a lot of people that have their own businesses. It's a little hard, but now with the system, maybe that will help out a lot, because a lot of us, I mean, it's very expensive. It
is expensive.
Something happens, especially if you have little ones. Something happens and you have to go to the hospital. I remember once I didn't have health care insurance, and they actually charged me $600 and I don't know what just to see my son's finger. So it's really outrageous. It's really going to help out a lot of moms and, or parents, single or, together, to work out on those health issues that you can have as well. Right. And, as a person and all that.
I think one of the things is making sure that there are more people brought into the healthcare system, because the more numbers there are, then they're able to actually bring down some of the costs. Right. There is a concern for some that's going to cause a lot of doctors to leave the industry, and so they're really, scared about that. Okay, well, are there going to be more doctors who are going to say, this is just too expensive for me to even, deal with all these problems, so I'm just going to not be a doctor anymore. Some people can argue that. I don't really see that.
That did not happen in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, it
did not happen.
But even technically, the highest rising, one of the highest rising employment sectors is in healthcare. So it's like if you look at nurse practitioners, if you're looking at the opportunities for job creation, aging population, we're kind of not as into the preventative healthcare as we should be. Right. So we do see a lot more people who are sick until we, of course, have a paradigm shift and go to the more preventative, which is another
That's the thing, is like preventative care.
Preventative is a lot cheaper. And I am so very thankful that we basically, as a family, only really gone for the annual the annual checkups, and haven't had some chronic issues or chronic health issues. I'm really thankful for that. But I empathize for people who do go through that. And I have a friend, and her son has a lot of issues, and she has to go back and forth to Boston to the Children's Hospital. She does not have good health, and she doesn't have good health insurance. So it's really problematic. But as a parent, again, to say that your children can be covered under your plan,
till 26. That's amazing.
It gives them freedom too to go to college and finish college.
It also gives you freedom to leave your job and create your own enterprises,
which is
and know that because that's the next step in the economy, I think. But also, I just want to say, in a very large political bubble, that the progressive movement in the United States, each one of us would have been affected tremendously. Abolition of slavery. Amendments to the Constitution, abolition of slavery, the enhancement of who a citizen is in the United States, women's suffrage, and voting not based on color,
or gender.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they came at different points, and also, lastly, poll taxes in the South for Jim Crow. So it's kind of like there have been sweeping, unpopular amendments and legislation that people have fought tooth and nail. However, they changed this nation to make it a better place. And I really think that healthcare, if you can prevent people from getting sick, if people can say, yeah, people can say, I don't have to worry about my child who has cancer but can't get coverage because they deny. Imagine what it would be like in 20 years.
Yeah,
where people,
before, if you were sick, you
couldn't get coverage. They could stop it. They could just cut you off, and
that's very sad.
That's really sick. Why should we, as a powerful nation, not have? Yeah.
Well, we want you to join in on this conversation, and those of you who have liked our Facebook page,
we
want to like
you.
it. We do.
Yeah.
But you can post comments about this issue because I think it's a very contentious issue throughout the country, and personally, I feel both sides have valid reasons, and the way that we'll get to the truth and the answer to this is to keep discussing it.
Yes.
Also, we're very excited because our show is now on community TV all throughout Western Mass, going into Connecticut soon, too. But it's in Amherst right now, on Connecticut TV in Amherst.
Hello, Amherst.
West Springfield.
Hello.
Northampton.
Hi, Northampton.
I love Northampton.
I went to UMass.
Restaurants in Northampton.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I did a show there at New Century Theater.
Oh,
and I was eating out every day, wasting my whole paycheck on the food. Anyway, that was an aside. We also have a new issue of Western Mass Women magazine with Gina Beavers on the cover. We're very excited about that.
Looking
Gina, doing what she loves to do.
Suzanne LaRoque did such a fantastic.
I
am in my glory.
She's a wonderful photographer. She's really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, the biggest news I think for today is that the top 25 women to watch.
Yes.
It's going to be happening in October, I believe, but we're doing the ballots now. The last page, thank you very much, Ms. Alicia,
Nice job.
of Western Mass Women magazine has the ballot. And it's the top 25 women to watch in the area. You can also go online to westernmasswomen.com and vote. And those are due by August 8th. So we encourage you to vote. Last year we got a lot of entries, and the women who won were phenomenal.
Amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were
all in their own way, and they were so diverse, so different ages. Some had lots of kids, some had no kids, some were businesswomen, volunteers. It was great.
Yeah.
Some are crazy.
Some are crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Being on
IMO.
That's okay. We forgot we had an honoree here with us, Alicia, last year, right? Last year.
So I want to know. Who's going to be the next hot woman in radio?
Yeah.
Make your vote. Make your voice.
We should read a couple of these. So, like, the top women in creative arts, right? Nursing, public relations, publishing, even new home-based business. So you women out there who might be stay-at-home moms, but you started a business from your home, you are one of the top 25 women to watch, and you should be on here.
Absolutely.
That's right. Lawyers.
Life coaches. Come on now.
Yeah. Travel. Ooh, travel.
Travel.
If you win, maybe you could give us a little trip somewhere. That'd be nice.
And we're not talking about somewhere like,
Oh, don't.
I know.
No.
I know.
We're not going to go to
talking about
Bahamas,
the Bermuda.
Yeah. That'd be nice. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining me, Alicia, Gina, and Millie today, and it's been great, and we look forward to some comments. You can always email us through Western Mass Women magazine.
Absolutely.
Take care. Bye.